Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to class 9th. Dear students, you have completed 5 chapters of bio in class 8. I think that all of you have understood all these chapters, whereas now we have to revise these chapters one by one. In this class, you have to write the notes in a register. I told you before that you have to continue the copies if you have a space in them. No problem. You have to keep the copies and start your revision work in register. Now, please check the index and complete them as before. That is, first write the chapter number and name with black marker and continue the question with blue pen. Now we have to complete and revise the first chapter by these topics. You are the science students and you know that what is science. It is the Latin word meaning to know. That is, science is the way of living thing or study of nature. Now, bio is a science of life. That is, we study about living things, that is animals and plants. All of you know that bio is divided into two main branches. Number 1, zoology, and number 2, botany. Zoology is that branch which deals with the scientific study of animals, and botany is the branch of biology which deals with the scientific study of plants. Another main branch of bio is microbiology, in which we study the microscopic organisms. Now, there are many other branches of biology, and these main branches are: number 1, morphology. This branch deals with the study of external characteristics of plants and animals. Anatomy is the second branch of bio, in which we study the internal structures or organs of an organism. In plants, it deals with the arrangement of different types of tissues in roots, stem, leaf, etc. The other branch of bio is histology, in which we study the tissues of plants and animals under the microscope. The next one is cytology. This branch of biology is this branch in which we study the structure, function, and composition of cells and cell organelles in plants and animals. Physiology is the branch in which we study the function and activities of various organs of an organism, that is plants and animals. Ecology is the study of relationship of organisms with each other and with their non-living environment. It is also called environmental biology. Taxonomy is that branch of bio which deals with the description, identification, classification, and scientific naming of living organisms according to their similarities and dissimilarities. Class, you know about your name, your scientific name, same as the scientific name of frog you know, and the brassica flower or the sarson. The very important branch of bio is the genetics. Genetics is the study of transmission of hereditary characters from parents to their offsprings. Biochemistry. Biochemistry is the branch in which we study the chemical reaction taking place in the living organisms. Biotechnology. Biotechnology deals with the application of biological processes for the benefit of the mankind. Now, class, you know that biology is related with the other sciences that are chemistry, physics, maths, sociology, and behavior of other living things. Now, biochemistry is the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of different chemical compounds found in organisms and chemical processes occurs in the living organisms. For example, synthesis of protein, synthesis of glucose in plants. Biophysics. It is the branch in which we study the laws and techniques of physics to explain the metabolism of living organisms and to find out the age of fossils. Very good example is the use of sound waves which are using in ultrasound. Now, behavior biology. Behavioral biology deals with the facts of bio which are reflected in the study of behaviors. Especially social behavior connects the social sciences and humanities to biology. The other very important topic is the biological method. What it is? It is a method we use to resolve the problems related to or produced by our living organisms. This biological method consists of following steps. Number 1, observation. What it is? Observations are made to collect relevant information. For example, malaria was greatest killer disease. It was common in marshy places. A French physician, Leveran, studied the blood of malaria patient under a microscope and observed tiny creature Plasmodium in blood. Hypothesis. It is intelligent guess in the form of a statement on the basis of observed facts or available information is called hypothesis. That is, in case of malaria, following hypothesis is made. That is, Plasmodium is the cause of malaria. The third one is Deduction. Deduction is the logical explanation of hypothesis. It doesn't require any type of experimentation. For example, in case of malaria, if plasmodium causes malaria, then all persons having malaria should have plasmodium in their blood. Now, experiment. Experiments are conducted to test the deduction to find out whether or not the hypothesis is correct. Then result. It was proved from above experiment that malarial patients had plasmodium in their blood, whereas blood of healthy persons was free of plasmodium. These results verified the hypothesis, that is, plasmodium is the cause of malaria. Now, the theory. As more as evidences come to hand in the favor of hypothesis, the hypothesis gains increasing acceptance and eventually is promoted to the rank of a theory. It means that जिस तरीके से हमें एक के बाद एक एविडेंस मिलता जा रहा है हाइपोथेसिस के फेवर में, तो वो थ्योरी फॉर्म करेगा. What is theory? It is a set of scientific assumptions consistent with one another and supported by evidence, but not fully proved. For example, theory of evolution. Now class, the next topic is the contribution of Muslim scientists and other scientists. All of you know about the Muslim scientists' contribution in the field of biology. The first scientist was Jabir bin Hayyan. He wrote books Al-Nabatat on plants and Al-Haywan on animals. Abdul Malik Asma'i, regarded as specialist of his time, he wrote following books. Al-Qil, describing structure and function of body parts of horses. Second book is Al-Abil, describing structure and function of body parts of camels. Al-Wush, describing structure and function of body parts of wild animals. Al-Shed, describing structure and function of body parts of sheep. And the last book written by Abdul Malik Asma'i is Khalaqul Insan, describing structure and function of body parts of human being. Now, the next Muslim scientist is Ali bin Rabban Tobri. He was the scholar of philosophy, zoology, psychology, and astronomy. His book was Firdausul Hikmah, in which detailed articles of philosophy, zoology, and astronomy are there. Now, Al-Farabi was renowned Hakim of the Islamic world. He wrote two well-known books, Kitab-i-Nabatat and Kitab-ul-Haywanat. Then Abul Qasim al-Zaharwi regarded as the renowned surgeon of Islamic world. He was famous for the removal of a stone from the urinary bladder. Ibn al-Haytham was a great optician. He corrected the Greek conception of vision. He located retina as a seat of vision. He wrote Kitabul Manazir about eye and Mizanul Hikmah about the medicines of eye. Abu Ali Sina, considered as one of the founder of medicine. He was a doctor, philosopher, scientist, astronomer, and poet. He wrote books Al-Qanun, Fil Tib, Al-Shifa. He described leprosy, oral anesthetics, animal experimentation, and malaria therapy in his book. Ibn al-Nafis, he was also known as Second Ibn Sina. He was the first to describe the process of blood circulation in human body. Kamaluddin al-Damiri was the greatest zoologist. He wrote a book, Hayatul Haywan. This book deals with the characteristics of 1,000 kinds of animals. Ali bin Isa, a well-known eye specialist of his time, he worked on structure, function, and diseases of the eye. He described 130 eye diseases in 3 volumes of his book. He told the names of food useful for the cure of eye diseases. His book Tazkiratul Kholain, that is an eye encyclopedia. Abul Qasim Majriti, also a Muslim scientist, wrote a book on animal species. He is especially known in Europe for his book on animal species. Now we have to know about the contribution of some non-Muslim scientists, that are William Harvey described circulation of blood with experimental evidence. Galileo, he invented microscope to examine small organisms. And girls, you have seen amoeba, paramecium, and other microscopic organisms under the microscope in class 8. Robert Hooke discovered the basic unit of living organisms, that is the cell. Linnaeus developed the method of nomenclature and classification for plants and animals. He classified them into 2 units, genus and species. Therefore, he was called father of taxonomy. And in class 8, you know about the scientific name of human beings, frog, and sarson, that is Brassica campestris. Now The other non-Muslim scientist is Sheldon and Shawn. They worked on the detailed structure of plant and animal cell. They finally proposed cell theory. Louis Pasteur discovered bacteria as a cause of many diseases like tuberculosis. Joseph Lister discovered antiseptics, that is, iodine and carbolic acids. E. Jenner discovered method of vaccination against smallpox. Charles Darwin proposed the theory of natural selection. He wrote his book Origin of Species about evolution of different species through natural selection. Now, Gregor John Mendel. He laid foundation of genetics and he proposed his famous laws of heredity called Mendel's laws of inheritance, which you have to study in this class. Watson and Crick. They proposed double helix model of DNA to explain the function of DNA as hereditary material. They opened the door for genetic engineering. And the last topic of in this chapter is the process of abiogenesis and biogenesis. Now, what is abiogenesis? It is a process that living things can spontaneously develop from the non-living thing, is termed as abiogenesis, whereas biogenesis is a concept that all living things arise from their parents. Living beings can develop only from other living beings is termed as biogenesis. Or we can say that life always comes from life. Now class, there are two different experiments of abiogenesis and biogenesis, that is Needham's experiment. In this experiment, Needham's boiled meat in water, poured this gravy in bottles and sealed their mouth with cork. After few days, microorganisms were produced in their sealed bottle. So, on this basis, once again believers of abiogenesis excited, that is life from non-life. Whereas the Pasteur's experiment concluded the other way, that life develops from life. How? He performed the experiment in front of the commission of noted biologists. He took flasks having long curved S-shaped necks. He added fermentable infusion, yeast plus sugar plus water in bottles and left their mouth open. Flasks containing the yeast infusions were boiled and let steam released out of the neck of each flask. Then flasks were allowed to cool. What were the observations? No life was produced even after the lapse of several days, because microorganisms entering along with air got stuck up in the curved walls of glass neck. To prove this, he broke up the curved necks so in such a way that contaminated air could reach directly to the infusion. It was observed that microorganisms were produced within 48 hours. This experiment proved that no life could be produced if care is taken and no microorganisms or their spores are allowed to reach the infusion. So Commission decided in favor of biogenesis. Now class, please you have to do all these questions and draw the diagram of Needham's experiment and Pasteur's experiment in your register. So you should learn, and inshallah when you will appear in the first term of class 9th bio paper, then these questions will be there. Thank you.